Hello and welcome. So, what I feel would be good to talk about here is reflecting on the past and what we might learn from it, and being conscious of finding a balance between reflecting on the past and attaching to the past or aspects of it and bringing them forward with us into the present. Because I feel this is something that is an easy slope to slip onto and go down, where we may even start with good intentions, conscious intentions of reflecting on something that happened to us in our past with the intention of learning from it, healing from it, and any other good intent. Yet when we get into it, because it may hold some emotional weight, some trauma, some intense energy that we felt at the time, resentments, pain, anger, fear, guilt, grief, regret, the list goes on, then we can be drawn back into those emotions when we are attempting to reflect from a more objective perspective, shall I say. Now, that doesn't mean not to feel those emotions, certainly not. Yet there is a practice, or it can take some practice rather, to be able to reflect on experiences, situations in the past and in the present where we are able to feel the emotions and look at the experience, go into it, yet there is still an aspect of, I suppose you'd call it objectivity, but again, I don't want to minimize the engagement with it, with the emotions to some degree, because we still need to feel those in order to move through them, to transmute them, to heal them, to process them. And sometimes that does take experiencing them, at least to some level, again. Yet there is a good balance that lies in that practice of reflection, wherein we can go into those things and experience them, yet we are doing so from a greater perspective, from a deeper perspective of our, I guess, higher self. Yeah, because we're going in from the heart and allowing our heart to guide us into this reflection rather than being drawn up into the mind and the aspects of the mind that may certainly and probably are holding on to the wounds, the discordant energies, the traumas of whatever experience it is that we're going into. So there's a practice of finding this balance that can and is really helpful when we're going into such things. And so taking the time to reflect and notice as we're reflecting whether we're getting a more broad, loving, higher, greater perspective, really, or whether we are being drawn into the traumas, the pain that we're wanting to explore, ultimately to be able to process through and love free. And so by going in with a more conscious awareness, this can really help. So even taking some deep breaths and holding that intention before you go into actually reflecting on whatever it is you're wanting to, can be very helpful in that regard. And then once you are in this period of reflection, remembering, looking at, re-experiencing to some degree, you'll be more able to notice if you're getting drawn into the fullness of the experience more as it was when it happened, and what you have brought forward with you into the present, which is also something that we're wanting to move through and love free, so that we're not continually carrying it forward with us from this present moment into future present moments. And of course, when we are attached to something, and even if we're not consciously aware of it, we're very often very strongly identified with it. It's become a part of our identity. And so that part of us wants to have it with us, even if it's painful, even if it's traumatic, whatever it is, that part of us still wants to have it because it's formed its identity out of it and in it. So when we are able to look at that from a more loving, open, broader, and objective, yes, but I don't mean objective in a clinical way. I mean it from a higher perspective, from the heart, from a more loving and open, objective perspective, then we are more able to reflect on things, contemplate things, and see from a broader and higher perspective, a greater perspective, what these experiences may have to teach us, what we can learn from them, what gifts they may have for us. And as we're going through that process, we are also able to move through the residual emotions and ultimately complete whatever it is we need to complete, and love those emotions and energies free and move beyond them, move out of them, transmute them, whatever the case may be. And this is something, yes, that takes practice, and yet by simply being willing to move into such things, even if it's once in a while at this stage, if you're just in the opening stages of self-exploration and opening up to more of who and what you really are, then that's beneficial. And then as you become more connected and in harmony and consciously aware of your greater self, more centered in your heart, then you can step up the self-reflection to a more frequent level. And of course, if there is anyone who is aware of this way of processing things and can help you or assist you, be there for you, that might be good as well. Or it can very often be a solitary process. That depends on you, what you feel would be most helpful for you. So this is what I feel needs to be said right now. And certainly if it resonates with you, then take it and go with it. And thank you again for coming here and listening and receiving these messages. They're always offered in love and gratitude for you and for all of us. We'll see you next time. Love you.